Welcome to Film Courage episode number 141. My name is Karen Warden.
You know what I'm thinking, Karen? I'm wondering if we should change the music in the beginning of our intro. Maybe some Gregorian chants or something like that.
That sounds good. Some trance music. I like it.
You know, we need some music submissions and try to figure out new. I know you've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to just kind of keep it fresh. I mean, I like the music, but we've had it for a while. And it's kind of reminiscent of maybe an 80s metal band, and that's cool. I like that music, but yeah, I'm ready to kind of change things, the feng shui of the show a little bit.
So if we have any musicians out there that are listening,
okay, cool.
You know, we're actively taking submissions. My name is David Brandon. You can connect with us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and at filmcourage.com. We have a special, surprise sort of co-host here in studio. The lovely Elizabeth Karr is joining us here in studio today.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Elizabeth Karr co-produces and acts in Radio Free Albemuth. Radio Free Albemuth is a film based on the novel from the brilliant and often misunderstood Philip K. Dick.
Radio Free Albemuth is currently playing film festivals all over the U.S. and abroad. It stars Shea Wiggum, Catherine Winnick, Alanis Morissette, and Scott Wilson.
Yeah, Elizabeth is a very busy lady. Her acting roles include House, ER, Women's Murder Club, Veronica Mars, Sleeper Cell, The West Wing, as well as many others.
Beyond all that, we just enjoy having Elizabeth around.
Sure do.
So thank you for joining us in studio. Let's welcome Elizabeth Karr.
Yes, yay.
Yay, thank you. And I'm thrilled to be here with Lynus. What an exciting guest.
Yes, it really is, and I've been waiting for this show for a long time. And that being said, our guest today is filmmaker Lynus Phillips. Lynus is a graduate of New York University's Experimental Theater Wing.
He started out as a live performer of experimental theater and alternative comedy while living in New York City.
His credits include Walking to Werner, which is Lynus's first feature film about a trek from Washington State to L.A. to meet Werner Herzog.
Great speeches from a dying world about several homeless individuals from Seattle. The film uncovers circumstances that have landed and kept those people lost and penniless, most involving abuse, addiction, and mental illness. That's his second film. Which
Lynus wrote, directed, and starred in, also by the name of Lynus Phillips, about a man coming off of a disastrous affair with a married woman and has a sort of lyrical, strange, and comedic cross-country journey in a modified VW bus. Please welcome to Film Courage via telephone, Mr. Lynus Phillips. Welcome, Lynus.
Hey there.
Hey.
Nice to hear my dad's voice.
Was that your real dad?
Yeah.
Is he really an electrician?
Uh-huh.
I love that scene where you call up telling him that you needed your TV fixed. That's great.
Oh, right.
That's great.
That's a real story. He used to have, people call him up all the time because he's like a contractor, more like construction jobs and stuff, but he would have people calling up because there's a place down the street from us called Phillips TV Repair, so they would, they thought he was the TV repair. Anyway.
Well, let's find out more about where you grew up and your life as a kid, Lynus. Was this in Massachusetts?
Sure. Is it okay if I just do some dishes here?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, why don't you...
Good for the recording?
Yeah, wrangle any barking dogs.
Can you pick that up?
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yeah, and can you call your dad because I'm having trouble with my reception?
There you go, yeah. Does he fix rabbit ears?
It makes me wonder how many people listening live are doing their dishes right now. You never know. So
yeah, maybe he's channeling. He's picking up from the ether, things that other people are doing. But going back
to
childhood.
But, I grew up in outside of Boston, and then went to NYU and lived in New York a good chunk of my adult life. Yeah. I don't know. I was a quiet kid. What do you want to know?
Well, I'm wondering, what did you like to spend time doing as a kid? Did you make up stories? Did you...
Actually, yeah, I would play with like action figures, toys like G.I. Joes and stuff, and with friends. I guess I didn't have a lot of friends, but I would have a couple that we would just play these big dramas and stories, with all these characters and stuff.
I like that. I used to make my own dolls by cutting out, like out of J.C. Penney catalogs and things. I'd make my own paper dolls, so maybe I was kind of a lonely kid too.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I used to play with Barbies too. I think that's something that, we just have active imaginations. Were you an only child, Lynus?
No, I have an older sister, an older brother, and a younger brother.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think from my younger brother was born when I was 7, and so I think that's partly why I got into working with kids, because I took care of him so much. So anyway, I worked as a nanny a lot while I was in college. I just kind of kept doing it. I don't know. So it wasn't too much of a strange transition. Kind of just start up and making films, because I guess I kind of never really had like a job, too much of a straight job basically. It was just like, okay, I'm going to stop working with this kid. He's getting older now, and then I focused more on creative stuff. Anyway.
But in a way, wasn't working with kids what was your initial foray into making films?
True. Yeah, a couple. I actually made these. It was because I thought it would be a fun project to do with this boy, because he had dreams and like fantasies. He wanted to. He loved to pretend to be the babysitter, the one in charge.
Oh.
And it's, I think, really therapeutic for the kid to just be like, and I played the kid in this one video we did called The Bad Babysitter, and he got to just yell at me. The delight that this boy, Victor, had in just saying, I think a swear or something, and he knew he could kind of get away with it, but it was also not too good for him to do. It was just that edge of pushing in a very healthy way what he could get away with.
Right, every kid's fantasy, right? To yell at the babysitter.
Yeah.
Lynus, did you move around a lot as a kid? Because I noticed that some of the themes in your film involve traveling. With Walking to Werner, you take the trip from Seattle via foot to L.A., and then with Bass Ackwards, you're taking this trek across country. So it seems like you're drawn to that theme.
No, I never did really travel until I went to school. I mean, I was for a semester in Germany in high school, but I don't know. My mom, I guess, I don't know if it came from here, but my mom kind of traveled from, she was born in Lithuania, and she and her parents and her sister walked, I guess, from Lithuania to Germany. I'm not even sure how long that is, but they have no other way to kind of, leave their life there. So it was kind of funny when my walking thing came up, and my mom was kind of saying, "Oh, that's kind of, there's a connection there."
Interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah, but I think the films I've made about traveling, the films I've made up until now, are the kind of film where you're discovering it as you're making it, and it's kind of very much about the themes going on in your life right then. So, it was kind of happening during that time,
right.
not from the past or whatever.
So, from your time working with special needs kids, what did you take away from that? What did that teach you? You said you've never been drawn to sort of the quote-unquote real job, which definitely taking care of kids is a real job, but what did you take? Right. What did you take away from all that?
Oh, good Lord. Just deep connections with these children. Hopefully I won't sound like a pervert. I genuinely love kids, and I think I have something very a non-judgmental way of being with them, which I think is really important. I'm reading a book now about Manson, and someone who started to write about him, who was a psychiatrist, and he was talking about the power of he works with mentally ill people, and just the power of listening to someone without judgment. It's just such a simple and yet something so necessary for people's existence. you know. And I think I've been able to do that with a few kids, and you know, it's just something I hold dear, you know.
And I think too, knowing your penchant for artists and for artistry, is that there's such a lack of arts education right now in the schools and in general. So to give that to kids, to let them use their imagination and pretend to be someone else or see what the possibilities are, I think that is so huge and wonderful, and something I do too. So I really think that's an important thing you're doing.
Very nice.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't do it anymore, or I'm not right now in my life, but I'm sure I will. But yeah, I keep in touch with the kids that I work with.
With your films, do you seek out the subject matter, or does this sort of come to you and out of discovery you say, you know what, this is what I think I want to film? I know with the Great Speeches from a Dying World, I think you took, a year to get to know some of the people there. Was that in your mind from the beginning to film them, or do these things sort of just have a roundabout way of coming to you and then you go, aha, I'm going to film this?
That one was more conceptual in the beginning. You know, I had an idea to work with homeless people and to hopefully work in somehow them doing famous speeches from history. And then I basically the idea just kept kind of breaking down. And, you know, it didn't come to me. I mean, you have to spend so much time and patience just hanging out and observing and you know, seeing if you can kind of gently convince someone to talk to you. Stuff. I mean, some will just talk your ear off, who, you know, and not make any sense, and you just wasted some tape, or you stop shooting or something, and you just politely walk away. But so yeah. But the other two, Walking to Werner and Bass Ackwards, kind of more just came to me, I guess. You know, I mean, the walking bit took you know, a lot of effort. That's not something that just naturally happens in your everyday life. Walking for 2 months, but the idea just kind of came to me, and you know, and then Bass Ackwards was yeah, it was like we only rode a little bit, and then it was just this idea that kind of kept building as we were shooting, that I couldn't have done without the commitment of Sean Porter, the cinematographer. It was really a collaboration between me and him, you know, overall.
So it was sort of an improvisation on the road. That's what it seems to me. Is that right? That you didn't know when you started filming, you didn't have your full script. You wrote it as you drove and went?
Yeah, which is really stressful.
I can imagine.
I don't think I could do a movie like that again. Not for a while. We actually less on the road, because the time we were actually driving across the country, we just were rushing, you know, because it's cost money to be on the road, and so that was, I mean, I described it like pearls, you know, just like watching them like fall through a drainage, you know, grate or something. It's just like you're watching all these opportunities go by you at 60 miles per hour. And we towed that car that's in the film a lot of the time.
That's great.
And it just would have taken forever to drive with that car, you know. So yeah, that was frustrating. I think in the future, maybe if I do things that are improvised, I'll kind of know the parameters more and how much time and to allot for that time and stuff. So I didn't finish that movie till a year after we made that trip. We shot more footage that was supposed to be on the road, but it was just upstate New York. Quite a few scenes, but more in the beginning. It's like we just started shooting, and we didn't even know if it was going to be a movie necessarily. It was just almost like screen test, but it really, you know, people describe when you start making a movie, it's like from that initial first day, you're kind of setting the tone and setting just something. And we just kind of kept setting these little postmarks for ourselves that kind of told us what it was going to be. And because Sean Porter's so, I don't know, gets such a great feeling to him, and such a light touch, and yet so also got such strong passion and ideas. It worked out. Yeah.
With walking to Werner, where were you in your life before you began that? Because from watching the intro, it seemed like you were at a point where you felt like you had to sort of create something and put something out into the world. And you interviewed this gentleman who says, you know what, I spent too much of my time working and I wish I had followed a dream. So where were you personally when that film began, when that whole journey, walking from...
I actually unfortunately got into... inhaling glue, different kinds of glues, and anything I could get my hands on. It got pretty... I'm just kidding.
We've had people take it different directions.
I was trying to mix it up here.
Okay.
Turn back on that Gregorian.
I'll go back to doing dishes.
Okay. All right.
No, I just, what was I doing? I stopped babysitting, and I decided I wanted to make movies, so I didn't know how I would go about doing that. And I had made, shot some footage of my grandmother. I was working with a dance theater company, and we were kind of still touring, that show, a few cities, and so I was kind of getting by a little bit, but I was living with my parents for a while, and then I moved in with my friend Dana Hansen, who produced the film. So she just kind of, so it was a really special time for me. It was kind of making completely faith-based decisions, and I was lucky enough to have people kind of holding me up while I was, walking, into the unknown and into the land of, like, no kind of security and no job and stuff like that.
Lynus, when you're dealing with the unknown and you're sort of working with these projects where you don't necessarily know how they're going to end, or they're improv or whatever the case may be, what goes off inside of you that says, okay, I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to walk away from this story, even if it takes me years to finish this, I'm going to finish it?
I don't know. I'm glad I've had that energy. I don't know. I have a good energy once the momentum starts building. And I guess Werner Herzog is always a great inspiration for filmmakers. Anyone who's accomplished, great films. It's like amazing that they got done, especially some of the things he's done. So he was a great inspiration. But I don't know, self-hatred. You just whatever works at the end of the day, until like a few years later you realize, well, maybe those types of fuel don't work as well. Let's see what the green fuels are. Self-hatred is a fuel that can kind of cause pollution, so to speak, in you.
That's interesting.
I'd love to hear, and I'm sure the audience would too, about your experiences at NYU at the Experimental Theater Wing. What did you take away from that still inspires and affects you in the work you do?
Well, that was a great program. I guess it is, and I found that it was inspiring to see that other kids were doing all kinds of things, like their independent projects, and people were writing and singing and doing music in their shows, and so I think it's a program that kind of taps you into your creative spirit and kind of breaks you down in a certain way, so that you don't have preconceived ideas of what it means to be creative, like i.e. just acting or whatever.
Right.
So that was really good for me. So it didn't feel as much of a stretch like when I think I went into filmmaking, because I was already doing kind of performances. Some were comedic and some were kind of experimental theater. So that was good. And I had a teacher, Werner von Waldenberg, who was really great, and just really, I don't know, I'm really, I guess, excited by people who have such a rigorous and expansive mind about what things should be, and they're kind of always looking at things from a different angle. And she would give great advice when we were doing a scene in class, and the kids would do it one way, and they thought it was like, oh, that's probably wrong because they're laughing and it's like a dark scene or something. And then she'd be like, wait, why? Well, don't stop. Maybe why isn't that the scene?
Mm-hmm.
So that was really exciting, because you can apply that kind of energy and that kind of twisting of perception to lots of such situations.
Lynus, I want to go back just quickly to something you said about the fuel of self-hatred being poisonous to sort of a creative project. What are the healthy biofuels that you use?
I was just thinking of that. Well,
corn ethanol. What are you using?
I think, biodiesel. Well, I think it can be just specific and thinking about the work and what you want to say with that type of work. Like not like even a message, but just what's exciting to you about that work. You just have to tap into that. And what's sad about filmmaking is it has so much apparatus that kind of gets in the way, and it makes the time between inspiration and execution sometimes very long, and so it's hard to. So during that time, I think your interest, which is the green fuel, can dissipate, and you have to try to find ways to reignite that interest, and I think also if you have just a deep desire to communicate and show, it's like a very almost childlike, or it's just very simple. And I think at different times in your life, if you have that can be a very helpful thing, because you're kind of always, it's a way to to keep interested,
If you weren't acting or making films, then how would you satisfy those creative impulses that are within you? And how often have you gone through life with a phase of being sort of inactive creatively?
Well, I have just been in a very uncreative phase, so and it's tough on me. You feel like you can do it and you can withstand it, but it's not worth it. It's another form of like pollution or something. I don't know if that metaphor is working here, but anyway. So the last a year and a half, it has not been very creative. So hopefully that will change. It's changing.
Well, Lynus, let me talk about that, because creatively, I feel like I'm in a space right now where I'm not sure I can get another project off the ground. I have at least 5 ideas that I would love to be able to sort of dive in and develop. Every day I just feel mounting pressures coming from all over the place. And at the end of the day, we have to make films that are viable in order to keep making them. Coach me here, Lynus. What help me out here. What can I do?
I don't know. I mean, who am I? I really like the Werner Herzog quote, money has 2 qualities, stupid and something. Wait, I can't remember.
Stupid and necessary, something like that.
Maybe if I do the voice, money has 2 qualities. It's stupid and cowardly. Yeah. So,
that's great.
And I think that's good to remember, I really am interested, because I'm trying to, this is where I'm not going to make myself sound very viable, but I mean, the things that have carried me through and given me the most energy, and therefore that I think usually leads to successful things, are projects where you have that really swirling kind of passion to it, where you're not worrying about the end result. Someone like John Cassavetes is a real inspiration. I mean, rereading his book Cassavetes on Cassavetes is always good in those uncreative periods. I mean, yeah, you just. I mean, that's important to me, especially for this next one, and for my next film to make it so that everything's just right, kind of organically, or as right as it can be, feeling wise. Because at the end of the day, you just, you have this film that you made, and I don't know, like, so what? It's just like it's got to be about what it can do for you while you're making it, and what, I don't know, just the experience of it is really important, and I think I've lost track of that at points. Everyone has. But how can you kind of create a situation where, it feels really good, and not just that you're rolling around on the ground. Oh, that felt so good. Did you get it? I mean, not just some like crazy hippie stuff, but that it's, I don't know, that it's just right. You're not doing it for kind of like other reasons, like, oh, would this make it better or more successful? I mean, I say that, but I also have a deep respect for audience, and and it's always for the audience, well, it's also for me, it's, the experience is for me, but the film is for them. So I might as well enjoy it while it's happening, because in the editing room you make those tough decisions, it's not for me.
We have producer-actress Elizabeth Karr joining us in studio here today, and we are on the line with filmmaker. Oh, she stretches out her arms there. We love to see that. We're on the line with filmmaker Lynus Phillips, and it was 2 years ago, back around this time, that Lynus, you found out that Bass Ackwards was in Sundance. How did you find out the news, and what went through your mind at the time?
The producer of the film, Thomas Woodrow, called me up, and yeah, it was a good phone call.
I bet. Okay. Did that experience, I mean, can you talk a little bit about your experience there and how that, did it change your life? Some people, I know people who don't get into Sundance think if they had gotten in, it would change their life. So, Lynus, did it? Did it change your life?
I'm thinking. Hold on. Hold on a second, lady. Go practice your dance moves for the Gregorian music video.
Are you going to your diary entries? Is that what you're...
Am I going to my diary entries?
Yeah.
No, I was really kind of thinking about it, because what does that mean? I mean, it's hard to imagine my life, I guess, if I didn't get in, and if I hadn't had a film there, although it hasn't really changed my life too much, I don't think. I mean, I kind of feel like I just kind of was burnt out after that and dropped out for a while from, I guess, making films and stuff. So I don't know. So I don't know. I think I could have probably taken more advantage of maybe connections and things. But that can come. I still had a film there, and that's good. The initial thing was, it's just like nice to tell your crew, because they worked on this thing for most of the time free, and so that's just like the greatest gift you can give to them. It's like you want to make a good film, and then that's like reward in itself. They to also have it recognized by such a great festival is just really great. It makes it feel like all your crazy like rambling ways were kind of worth it. Not to justify any flaws or whatever, but and then also just like with your family, it's nice to because they're less on your back about those like things and pursuing.
Right, recognition helps with that, with getting the family support.
What would be your advice, Lynus, to those who don't get into Sundance? You'd sit someone down and you'd console them, and what would you tell them?
I probably have friends who didn't get in, but I would just talk to them about the next project or something.
Wow.
Not to say that that project's dead if it's on Sundance, but that's, I don't know. What would I guess. It's a bummer when you get your hopes up for something like that. Of course, there's other film festivals and everything. I don't know. Have a drink, whatever.
And Lynus, you are moving on to your new projects now. Are you seeing an impact that sort of having the Sundance pedigree? Has that had a favorable impact on getting these new projects off the ground?
I guess I could tell you better in like a couple months or something.
Gotcha.
Because I'm kind of gearing up. I'm still finishing writing something. So I need like another draft or two to kind of start approaching people.
Gotcha.
Are you working
with...
Yeah.
So, I think it's a nice thing to just throw out there. You had a film at Sundance, it's great because it still doesn't, I guess Bass Ackwards is available at least to buy, which is nice, but it's not like, I don't know, I don't think like a lot of people heard about it, but it's great that being at Sundance gives it, at least in the film world, and also just, you can just tell people you made a film, and it's just it's like crickets until you say Sundance for certain people. So, and that's fine. I don't, so it's a great thing what they've done, because it's not just like some name, there's also such good intention behind what they do and the programming. So, but yeah. What were you going to say next?
I'm wondering, have you done anything with Sundance since, like any of the Institute programs in the filmmaking workshops or producing or writing or directing? Was that something that intrigued you or that you did?
It would. Maybe I'll go find out about more of that stuff. I just, like I said, kind of just did my own thing the past year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the future. I don't know. Sometimes those things scare me though, because you have to like wait a long time, and it can slow the process down. And I probably should have just done them because I haven't got anything going. But I kind of like the idea just that you could just pull the trigger and just start making a film. But maybe that's probably not going to happen because I am trying to do things in a different way than I've done them in the past,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lynus. Coming out of a festival like that and having the notoriety and the acclaim come with it, do you feel pressure, currently in terms of your next project? Is that something that goes through your mind at all?
Yeah, I guess it kind of changes things just in a good way, because I might have just made another very small film that's partly improvised and, and also partly where you're getting people to do things for so cheap or free, which weighs on you, It's not a fun thing to do all the time. So it's important, So after that, it's kind of like, you're like, well, okay, you kind of got into a big festival like that, you should, I feel like a natural, you might as well try to do things different and like a little bigger, a little more professional, I guess, or something. Like not have your dad in it or something. No, I'd have my dad in.
Although, I don't know.
If it was right.
I loved him in that role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the next thing is going to be kind of like more mixture of, like a still kind of a small movie, but a little bit bigger, I feel like. And I'm trying to work with, I'm excited about doing more acting, so I'm talking to a couple filmmakers and kind of collaborating on scripts with them for movies that I'll act in. So I think that would be good. I probably should have done that earlier, like in this past year when I wasn't ready to make my own project. Because it's also very sad for directors who only make a movie every so often, like what can you do? So you don't learn as much, because you come back to your cinematographer and he's done 4 movies since you've worked together, because they're just trying to work and, they're not generating this whole idea and script and casting and realizing the thing. So anyway, but they get to learn so much and experience things and not wallow in their own depression in their apartment or whatever. So
well, it's also the difference of somebody working on a film and the film being your film. I mean, when you're the writer-director, that is your baby, and you have to stay with it and immerse yourself, and for the next one too. So sometimes our Patrice Cochet, our cinematographer on Radio Free Albemuth, has just shot a film that's in Sundance this year, and he works all the time. He's so wonderful, and sometimes I envy that compartmentalized job of being an actor or a cinematographer. But then on the flip side is you don't get to have all the collaboration and creativity of creating something amazing, like John Allen Simon, the writer-director of Radio Free Albemuth, did on ours. So I hear what you're saying, Lynus, and I admire, and I know how hard that is. And it really is, sometimes it is just getting up in the morning and living with the pain and suffering and creating, or not. But you're there doing it, and I have so much respect for writer-directors. I don't think there's any harder job or more fulfilling. So.
I like that, living with the pain. Yeah, I like that. It's like,
and some joy, hopefully, too.
No, but I like that.
I feel like we should applaud.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should have a moment of silence.
Applaud for you.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about how you have this wonderful, raw feeling and beautiful images in your film, and then it's twinged with this loneliness, and I want to talk about that. Take us to the loneliness.
Yes. The loneliness of life.
Is that Werner speaking through you?
Yeah, he's here. He's making some scrambled eggs.
Okay, and cooking his shoe.
Yeah, right.
Like Charlie Chaplin, right?
Yeah. The loneliness is, I don't know. That's something I can do well. Someone wants to cast me in something, and I said, "Why do you want to cast me?" And he said, "Well, you have this real kind of loneliness to you that I like." And it was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's good. I know what you want to see, in your thing. But it also was like, I guess I kind of do. It was interesting. Yeah, I guess I've wasted a lot of time being lonely, or having this kind of feeling like that. I like you said something like raw. I think that's a good quality to have in a film.
Yeah. Well, I think too the loneliness. I mean, the people that are hanging out and having a great time all the time, they're not really doing a lot. So I think that introspection and that loneliness and maybe feeling a little bit like I don't belong in the world, and I'm projecting my own stuff here, but I think that helps people create.
You don't belong though.
I don't. No, I don't.
You didn't hear? Sorry, we should have told you.
Right, but I think that contributes, because I think the people that feel like they're part of the crowd, they're so busy with the crowd that they're not creating. So.
Right,
I think that's helpful.
Sometimes running from pain or filling yourself up with other things, it's temporary, and if you sit with it, it can be a wonderful thing. So I'm a big believer in loneliness, and and spending time with yourself and all that. Hey, I would love to ask Lynus about his grandmother.
Oh, yes.
Because I have a Nana too, Lynus, who was a big influence on my life, and a real regret of mine is that I never made a film about her, and I know you did, Ushtanka, which translated is enough. So tell us about her. Tell us about your Lithuanian grandmother.
Salome Dorba, I don't know, came over in the wake of World War II, and she's kind of amazing. Like, she's so human, but also in just such a different way than what we know. You know, it's just so simple. I think a lot of people are like that, but also just I don't know. She's still alive. She just turned 100, and
oh wow,
wow.
Maybe 100 or 101. But
cool.
Anyway, she's sad. She's well into dementia and living in a nursing home, and it's tough. But more tough for my mom. Such a strange thing. It's almost like some people are just like a family member said she was meant to live to 70 in Lithuania. That's how she was built. But then she came and had an easier life in a lot of ways, and so she's just built to last. Like, she won't die. And she would say, like, enough already, and say these amazing kind of almost dark things, but not trying to be dark. She's just like you would come over and you'd say, how you doing, and she goes, Da Giva, which is still alive, like, I'm still alive, just kind of slightly annoyed by it, but still like something deep down that is programmed her to live. It's like no one's rewriting the software or something. I don't know. I mean, but it's fine. I guess she might get some joy out of living. It's really sad, actually. But when I was shooting her, it was a good time because it was kind of before she was fading. So it's nice to have that. I mean, she has a real sweetness to her and something very classic, like potato chips. She's like potato chips.
I want to go back to what we talked about in the beginning, which was for Walking to Werner. You sort of open the film with this gentleman named Robert, and he talks about how he was always focused on money and working instead of having a dream. And, since so many people's money situations have dwindled over the past few years, and we're all kind of left wondering, okay, what's the reason we're sort of still doing all this? Why are we getting up in the morning? What has ruled you, money, having a dream, or both? And is it possible to have both? No pressure with that deep question.
Yeah. Can I get a lifeline?
Sure.
There's, you can't avoid money altogether. But it's, I guess like a lot of things, if it gives you anxiety, you have to try to, just kind of fix that so it's not, affecting the way that you're feeling. I mean, you have to still do things and make money if you but I don't know. I mean, obviously since like 2004 to 2008, like when I made 2.5 films at that time, and I really just lived like, I slept in an office for a couple months. I was living on people's couches and in basements, and so really just didn't care about it. I went to an extreme of just following your dreams, so to speak. And I'm glad I did. I'm kind of still trying to still find a balance now, so that you can keep doing it, and because when you get older, it changes a bit.
Sure. Priorities change, absolutely. All right. Well,
you just get a little weaker, so you have to just kind of make sure you can keep, doing the creative projects. So.
Yeah. The pain is felt a little more, mostly in the back. Yeah. That's where most money troubles resonate. in the back. Well, I want to thank our guest host today, Elizabeth Karr, for joining us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For more on Elizabeth, please visit her on IMDb, Google+, Twitter at Elizabeth Karr, and that's spelled Karr, and then her site, elizabethkarr.com, on Facebook, and at radiofreealbemuth.com. Thank you for joining us. Great seeing you.
Yeah.
Thank you. My pleasure. And I am opening in a play on December 29th at Matcha Theater in West Hollywood, so people can come and see me be an actor instead of a behind the scenes.
And the info's on your site?
Yeah. Okay. Well, not yet, but it will be.
Oh, very cool. All right.
No, that's great. And make sure those you listening, connect with Elizabeth on Twitter. She's fabulous at Elizabeth Karr. We've also been speaking here. Our guest today, filmmaker, actor Lynus Phillips. For more on Lynus, please visit Ackwards.film.com. You can check him out on IMDb. Check out all his trailers all over on YouTube. And Karen and I were excited to see Walking to Werner.
And my personal email is hellokitty@aol.com.
There you go.
Nice.
That's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Okay, that's great.
His other work includes great speeches from a dying world. Lynus, thank you so much for joining us here today on Film Courage.
Yeah, we really want to see more stuff from you. We just love your work.
Great to meet you,
Cool.
Lynus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
We had our last Film Courage Interactive of the year this past Monday. We screened Missing Pieces by filmmaker Kenton Bartlett and the short film Fidelis by Jonathan Schieffer.
Yeah, we had an awesome night and 2 great films, and then to top off the night we had an amazing Q&A with both filmmakers and their main actors. We had Kenton Bartlett and the main actor of Missing Pieces, Mark Boone Jr., and also Jonathan Schieffer and the main character of Fidelis, I hope I'm saying his name right, Xander Jenneret, and their photos and video are up on filmcourage.com.
Yep, and that's our last one. We're going to resume the Film Courage Interactives in January.
Yeah,
we take
December.
Yeah, we take December off, and then we'll be back January 30th, 2012, with the feature Santiago by writer-director Felix Martiz, and the short film The Terrain we're going to get to screen this time around by writer-director Brian Durkin.
Yeah, and as always, thank you, Ronan, for all that you do. Ronan is helping us build filmcourage.com to be a wonderful site, and he also runs the board here at LA Talk Radio.
We look forward to being here with you next Sunday at noon at latalkradio.com. We're going to be joined by the team behind Becoming Santa, a documentary of one man entering the culture and character of Santa Claus for a single season.
Yeah, Becoming Santa follows Jack as he bleaches his hair, goes to Santa school, and tries to do everything that Santa is asked to do. He works as a sidewalk Santa. He does home visits, a Polar Express train, and a parade. Along the way, Jack collects children's wishes and learns about the benefits of belief, the history and origin of Santa, and the ordinary people that keep the Santa spirit alive.
And we just got the screener in the mail, so we get to check that out. Get into the holiday season. The film won the South by Southwest Audience Award, and we're going to be speaking with the director Jeff Mayers and writer of the subject doc Jack Sanderson. For more information on Becoming Santa, please visit becomingsantathemovie.com and Becoming Santa on Facebook.
And until next Sunday, as always, have a great week.